iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.
Adam Pascal, welcome to iHeartRadio Broadway.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
So before we talk about the concert that's coming up, just want to check in with everybody. How are you doing after the last 18 months that we've all collectively gone through?
Thank you for asking. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. It's been at varying degrees of terrible, okay, and pretty good. So, but I actually but today I'm doing really well. I think that I have a cautiously optimistic, although I shouldn't be, but I'm cautiously optimistic about the coming months, and so we'll see. I do have a job coming up that I'm hoping this doesn't disappear. So that's really what I'm hoping for.
Besides the concert and your career coming up, were you able to find creative moments during the pandemic?
I was, but I also wasn't overly concerned with finding ways to do that. I talked about this a lot during the pandemic because I was asked about it a lot, about that exact question about how are you staying creative and all this stuff, because I am obviously somebody in a creative industry, and that's what I do for a living. But I found more often than not that I just wanted to get through the day, and I had zero interest in sitting down and trying to express my woes in music or whatever. I just had no interest in that. There were times when I felt bursts of creativity and did stuff, and then there was a lot of time, most of the time, where I was just trying to survive and take care of my family and make sure that they're okay. And it was so much. And so so I would emphasize that to people who would ask me, I'm having a hard time, how do you do it? And I say, don't do it. Stop having a hard time, stop thinking about it, stop trying to do it, and just live your life. You can be creative when this is over.
Absolutely. And one of the new creative ways that we're about to witness is you're doing a concert, and it's called Adam Pascal So Far, and it's going to be on Stellar August 17th at 9 p.m. and it's going to be available, I believe, until the 24th of August, and tickets are on sale now. What was the impetus to have this concert?
Well, it's a show that I was actually doing live before the lockdown happened. So I've been kind of playing the show around for a bit, and it seemed like such a great thing to do, for that exact reason that you mentioned about being creative, and this was one of the things during the lockdown that I thought, well, this is actually something I can do. I found a producing team that wanted to do it with me, in Art Lab and Showtown Productions, and we said, let's figure out how to do this. So that was really the impetus. It was like, what can I do? And how can I take this thing that I already have, that I was already just working on right before we came into this lockdown, and is there some way I can, mesh the two together? And it ended up being actually a really great medium for this show. Because it's just me, and it's just very much a storyteller's type of experience, where I'm talking and telling stories and then playing songs from the shows that I've been in. So it really does just lend itself to just a sort of simple type of, media experience.
And it is a retrospective of your career. And I have to say, I've followed your career since Rent. And this is actually a full circle moment. My very first internship on Broadway was Aida. So I was the company management intern when you were in the show. So
oh, wonderful.
I have known your career for a long time. And I think while I was doing research for this interview, the thing that I find so fascinating about you, in the best way possible, is you were one of the most versatile performers. You are a rocker, yes, we all know that, but then you can turn around and do things like Chicago and cabaret. What do you think attributes your career to being so versatile?
Well, it's been a conscious decision on my part to do that. To me, that's the most fun thing about this career, and I'm so grateful that that's the case, and that I am able to do stuff. Everything for me, because I didn't set out as an actor, it's all been kind of like an experiment, in the sense that, can I do that? I don't know. Will somebody with a Broadway show give me a chance to try? And so there's been sort of like a lot of that. And I've been extremely fortunate that I've been successful at doing it. But I knew early on, after Aida, I think specifically, that I needed to start being seen as something other than the Broadway rock guy. I knew that if I did one more rock musical, at least then, that's all I'd ever be seen as, you
Hmm.
know. And so I knew I needed to push my own limits personally, but also from a career perspective, I knew I needed to do something that would really like shake things up. And Cabaret was there, you know what I mean? It was the perfect. I shouldn't say it was there as if it was so easy to get. I was begging them for that job. But once I got it, then okay, now you've got this opportunity. You know, what are you going to do with it? You know.
And you got to close out the show as the MC during that revival, correct?
I did. They had announced that they were closing, and so I thought, well, okay, I'll never get the opportunity to do it. And then I don't know why, really, to this day, I don't know why, but they said we want to extend, and we'd like you to be the final MC. And so, I mean, in all honesty, I, they didn't even audition me. And quite frankly, had they auditioned me, there's no way I would have gotten it. So I'm so grateful for that.
What did you learn about yourself during that process of becoming the MC? Because again, you went from Rent to Aida into the MC
Yeah.
with Cabaret. What did you learn from yourself as a performer?
I learned that I was capable of tremendous hard work to achieve something, which I'd never worked harder on anything in my life than in those few weeks getting ready to go into Cabaret. Um, and having it be successful and pay off, I realized that hard work pays off. You know, I certainly tend to the lazier side of existence, and so that was a huge thing for me to learn that. And it also instilled in me a respect and a love for the craft of acting and what we do that I didn't have before. I took things very much for granted. I thought that, you know, that I thought that I just innately had skills that I actually didn't have, you know, and that I needed to learn. And so it was such a life experience for me, and it set me on this path that I'm still on. I don't
Hmm.
think I'd be here talking to you right now were it not for that show and those things that it did for me.
And with your career, is there one show or one performance in particular that you would love to relive over and over and over again?
Not really. Well, no, that's not true. I would love to do Disaster again. I had the most
Really?
fun. Yes, I had the. I mean, I don't think I will, but I had the most fun doing that show with this group of friends that I just adore so much, and it was like literally hanging out with your friends and getting to put on a show. Like it was just the most fun, and the show was so funny, and it didn't last long, and it wasn't successful, but the people that saw it loved it, you know. And I would love to have had that experience last longer.
It's
I'll say that.
interesting. I saw Disaster when it was in the basement of the church, and then to
Okay.
see it on stage at a Broadway theater. It's a cute show. It's an absolute
Yes.
adorable show. So I'm actually that makes me really happy that that's your answer.
Yeah.
So with the concert, you know, it's up, it's going to be streaming for a while for people to be able to take in. What do you want people to learn from you or learn about you as they watch this concert?
Maybe just get a little bit of a sense of what my personality is like. I think, you know, look, one tends to have a certain impression of somebody that you may be a fan of or that you see, you know, in the public eye, and you know, and that impression many times is completely wrong from what you think, from what you know think that person is. And so I just would hope that people just get an idea of what my personality is like, you know. Because I think I have, I don't know why, but I have encountered over the years a sense of uh, not shock, but surprise when people meet me and talk to me for a while and kind of see what I'm like. And they'll say, like, you're so much different than I thought you would be. You know, nobody expects a Jew from the Bronx. You know what I mean? They expect me to be, you know, like you know, so like a California guy or some Midwestern corn belt, whatever the fuck that's called. You know, like you know, like, and so they don't expect me. You know.
Right. And you are sitting down during the concert with your friend Jared Emick, who is interviewing you during the concert. Was that something that had been originally planned during the various concert versions that you had been doing before the pandemic, or was this brand new just for this?
Yeah, it was brand new just for this. You know, when I perform the show live, I talk to the audience, and so I'm
Hmm.
talking to a live audience, and there's, even though they're not talking back, there's a bit of an interaction. There's an energy that happens when you're actually talking to people in the room, and I didn't feel comfortable. And I didn't think I would be able to capture that same vibe just talking to the camera. You know what I mean? And so I just thought, well, you know, Jared's a buddy of mine. I was in Vegas at the time. I was living in Vegas, and he lives in Vegas with his family. And I thought maybe that would be cool if I just do like an interview style thing, and then we'll intercut it like that. And it worked out great. He just came over to my apartment. We sat there with a couple of beers and talked. You know, and like, and because we were editing it, I could be like, okay, ask me about so and so, right? And then he would just ask me about it, and I would tell the story, and like it was fun.
I was going to ask a follow up. What makes him the perfect person to do this? But knowing he was super close by and could come over for a beer and
That's it.
hang
That's the
out,
only reason. He's perfect. He's my buddy, and we sat and we, you know, and that's the reason, you know. And
I
people
think
would know him, you know.
that's even better. I was like, he's going to go into some deep info about why he was perfect, but just knowing that story is even so much
No,
better.
it's literally like, are you busy? Can you do this for me? Like, you know, it was, yeah.
That's awesome. I want to plug it one more time. Adam Pascal, so far. It's going to be on Stellar on August 17th and streaming till August 24th. You can buy tickets today. Before I let you go, you know, we are about to reopen this industry, not just Broadway, but entertainment across the world.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you're hopeful for change to come about within our industry?
You know, look, I want this industry to just exist first. You know what I mean? I think that we are so clearly not out of this pandemic. So yes, clearly a lot of change needs to happen within this industry. But the industry needs to exist for those changes to happen. So I think we just need to like not get distracted by too many things when the real focus needs to be how are we going to maintain shows being open and running. Then we'll figure out who, what, where, when, and how to cast those shows with the proper people. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But let's not put the cart before the horse here. Let's make sure that we can actually have an industry in which those hopefully wonderful changes will happen. You know, that's what I'm thinking right now. You know, like I said, I've got a job that's supposed to happen in the fall, and I just want it to happen. You know. And you know things don't look good right now. You know people are nuts, and so like we have to contend with you know a sizable portion of the country that's nuts. And so what do you do? I don't know. Hope, a lot of hope. You
Well,
know that some of these.
I'm hoping that we get to see you back on a Broadway stage very soon and that
Me too.
we can all get back to work and out of a Zoom
Yes,
box. So
please, for crying out loud.
congratulations on the concert. I can't wait to
Oh,
watch
thank
it.
you.
Again, go to stellar.com to buy your tickets today. Adam, thank you so much for joining iHeartRadio Broadway today.
Thank you for having me.
iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.